Well, John, I'll disagree with you on one point. I, for one, could sit here for another hour or two and listen to you and Paul talk about these sorts of things. Unfortunately, we're tightly scheduled here today, and we can't do that. And we're all hoping that next year, for the 2021 Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, which, by the way, is April 16th and 17th, that we're going to be able to all be here together rather than have to do it virtually. But right now, we want to end today's portion of the program with one more presentation. We are going to have a short video from Congressman Dan Meuser. Dan Meuser represents the 9th Congressional District, and that is in the northeastern part of the state, extends down into Lebanon County. Dan was, first of all, a businessman who created thousands of jobs growing his business. He was then appointed as the State Secretary of Revenue by then Governor Tom Corbett. So we'll conclude our conference this afternoon with comments from Congressman Dan Meuser.
Greetings, my fellow conservatives, and all those who should be. I'm Dan Meuser, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I want to congratulate Loman Henry for his leadership and all of the Pennsylvania Leadership Council for their commitment to limited government, a free market economy, and support of the individual liberties and our Constitution that make America the land of freedom and opportunity. Greetings, my fellow Americans and the great people of Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District. It has truly been my honor to represent you in Washington, to be your voice, and to work for you here at home. Our goals over the past 2 years have been to support President Trump's America First agenda, to work on federal legislation that is always in the interest of Pennsylvania, to lead a dedicated and highly responsive staff so as to provide top-notch constituent services to you, and to communicate and be accessible in a highly effective manner. As your member of Congress, I've been an avid supporter of the President and the Republican agenda, which includes strong border security, job growth, reduced taxes, deregulation, fair and reciprocal trade agreements, and a strong military. I supported all new appropriations for our military and will always have the back of our brave men and women in uniform. Under President Trump and Republicans in Congress, we brought our economy and our military out of the Obama-Biden doldrums and strengthened both our economy and military. I am proud to serve on the Committee for Veterans Affairs. We have significantly improved services and support for veterans with the expansion of the Veterans Choice Act, Blue Water Navy Act, and a bill I introduced, the Autos for Veterans Act. I also serve on the Budget Committee and introduced legislation to provide accuracy on budget accounting. Additionally, I introduced legislation for family support services to help families suffering with drug addiction. I also introduced a bill to create the Infrastructure Bank for America, a smart P3 initiative to invest in America's infrastructure, and an important bill known as the Mine-Affected Communities Energy and Environment Act to expedite the cleanup of coal banks, as well as to assist our many cogen energy plants throughout the district. I recently sponsored a bill to stop mail-in voter fraud. We need an election system that allows a voter to request a mail-in ballot, but the mass mailings of unsolicited ballots is wrought with potential fraud. We must have voter security that ensures one citizen, one vote. I'm very pleased to inform you that our constituent services have been exceptional. Your Washington and district staff work very hard, and our outreach and casework successes are at the highest levels for all congressional districts. I am very grateful to my team, your team, for their dedication to serving you. Particularly during the pandemic, we rose to the occasion. We worked 12-hour days every day and helped small businesses, hospitals, banks, families, food banks, healthcare workers, you name it. We endeavored to manage through and, yes, very often fight against many of the governor's burdensome regulations, which closed down small businesses and affected livelihoods and lives. Moving forward, we should follow the president's lead and adopt a smart plan for Pennsylvania to be on a strong path to recovery. I must tell you, however, the 116th Congress has also been a great disappointment. There's so much that could have been done, but opportunity has been squandered by Speaker Nancy Pelosi and far too many Democrat members that vote with her 100% of the time. I honestly wonder if these members care more about their districts and their country or being in Speaker Pelosi's good graces. During this Congress, congressional Democrats refused to secure our borders and forced a shutdown of our federal government. President Trump has nearly single-handedly corrected this severe problem, with Democrats fighting him every step of the way. Nancy Pelosi's Congress failed to lower prescription drug prices, failed to stop the practice of surprise billing, failed to offer an infrastructure bill that could be put into law, delayed by almost a year the passing of the USMCA, costing the creation of thousands of new jobs, and Nancy Pelosi's Congress impeached our president with no credible evidence or due process. The Democrat House majority politicized every bill and every action for the past 2 years, and they will do so again if we don't win back the U.S. House, which I think we will do. The Democrat Majority Caucus, led by Speaker Pelosi, squandered opportunity for what they believe is their own political gain. They should pay the price come Election Day. I also firmly believe we will re-elect President Trump. Along with his America First agenda, I can tell you from personal experience, I've never met anyone more determined, harder working, and frankly more patriotic than President Trump. He has a very good understanding for what is best for America, and he has kept his promises and accomplished so much in spite of the Democrat resistance. One quick story. I was speaking with the president, and I congratulated him on his new Homeland Security team, as the number of illegals crossing the border declined dramatically since my last trip to the border. The president said, yes, it is a good team, but what really made the difference was my relationship with the president of Mexico, who offered to put the Mexican military on their northern and southern border, as many as 20,000 troops. I responded to the president, well, that is certainly something you don't see in the media. And I added, Mr. President, Mexico built the military wall, and they are, in fact, paying for it. In the same conversation, I told the president about my family and that my father was a retired police officer, in fact, a detective. After listening to me talk about my dad, the president said to me, hey, try to call your father. I would like to thank him for his service. He sounds like a great guy. I did. And unfortunately, my father answered. I said, Dad, someone wants to say hello to you. Well, needless to say, my father was very surprised, had a nice chat with the President of the United States, and this was certainly a call he will never forget. Folks, this election is, as we all know, incredibly important to us and our posterity. I believe this election is about people, leadership, and our future. Our party, president, policies, and ideals are entirely focused on what's best for the American people, their freedom and their security. Today's Democrats are concerned with their own special interests, identity politics, and never seem to be for the greater good of America. This election is about leadership, about staying focused on the greater good and inspiring others to do the same. President Trump and I believe we must focus on law and order, national security, economic strength, investing in our infrastructure, and education skills development for our young people. Leadership requires courage. It's terrible leadership to make short-term political decisions that satisfy the emotional issue of the day rather than make decisions for the longer-term interest of our citizens. It's disgraceful that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and other Democrat leaders would not denounce the violence in our streets and only did so after taking a poll. Anyone in elected office who thinks this way deserves no position of authority and should be voted out. This election is about our future. Contrary to Joe Biden's campaign narrative, we are a great country. They choose to blame America first. We choose to put all Americans first. We choose to accentuate the many positives of our country and work to improve in areas that need to be addressed. I am very confident that 4 more years of President Trump working with the Republican House and Senate, great things will happen for America. As many of you know, I was in the business world for 25 years and served as Pennsylvania's Secretary of Revenue for 4 years. I don't make political comments that I don't believe will come to fruition or are not realistic. We can and will recover from the COVID-19 crisis, and with President Trump's policies and lean-forward attitude, we will have an incredible American decade. If elected, Joe Biden will at best be a placeholder. And of course, the more likely scenario is he will enact extreme left policies directed at transforming our country into something unrecognizable. Joe Biden is never in doubt, but he also never seems to be right. Joe is very much like an onion. The more you peel his record back, the more you want to cry. Joe Biden and the Democrat House vision for America and Pennsylvania is to raise taxes by a lot, over $4 trillion, expand all of government, adopt the Green New Deal, spend us into oblivion, implement all kinds of restrictions on our Second Amendment rights, taxpayer-paid abortion on demand at any point in the term of pregnancy, enact a government takeover of health care, give illegals amnesty, open borders, and ultimately a government takeover as much of our economy and freedoms as they can get away with. Outside of that, he's wonderful. Their goal is power. That's socialism, folks, no matter how you slice it. This is why so many Pennsylvania Democrats do not relate to today's Democrat Party and are now voting Republican. I do, however, believe that the vast majority of our citizens love our country, our history, and what the United States of America stands for. I also believe that we will vote in this election to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. So, as we continue our work, both in Washington and the district, I look forward to hearing from you, working for you, and representing your interests in Washington. I do gratefully and humbly ask you for your vote. Thank you for the honor to serve you in the U.S. House of Representatives. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.